right where we are. Memory fades, and the crowds don't remember. 'Cause honey, your soul can never grow, it's evergreen. Baby, your smile's forever in my mind and memory. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe it's all part of the plan. I'll just keep on making the same mistakes, hoping that you'll understand. But baby, now take me into your loving arms, kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars, place your head on my beating heart, figure out loud, baby, we found love right where we are. La, 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 la. So baby, now take me into your loving arms, kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Oh darling, place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we are. Maybe we found love right where we are. Maybe we found love right where we are.
Minuman enak untuk kanak-kanak, dikuasakan dengan nutrient A-Force. Tulang saya kuat, usus saya hebat, bakteria baik, badan saya jadi cergas. Kalsium yang
I can't count the times I almost said what's on my mind, but I didn't. Just the other day, I wrote down all the things I'd say, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. Baby, I know that you've been wondering. Oh, so here goes nothing. In case you didn't know, baby, I'm crazy about you. And I would be lying if I said that I could live this life without you. Even though I don't tell you all the time, You had my heart a long, long time ago. In case you didn't know, the way you look tonight, that second glass of wine, that did it. There was something about that kiss, girl, it did me in. Got me thinking, oh, I'm thinking all of the things that I've been feeling. It's time you hear. In case you didn't know, baby, I'm crazy about you. And I would be lying if I said I could live this life without you. Even though I don't tell you all the time, you had my heart a long, long time ago. In case you didn't know, you got all of me. I belong to you. Yeah, you're my everything. In case you didn't know, I'm crazy about you. And I would be lying if I said that I could live this life without you. Even though I don't tell you all the time, you had my heart a long, long time ago. Yeah, you had my heart a long, long time ago. In case you didn't know, no, no. In case you didn't know.
Nana, 怎么了？你不舒服吗？
My love, there's only you in my life, the only thing that's right.
My first love, your every breath that I take, your
Can I have your attention, please? All students and attendees are kindly asked to take their seats as the program will begin very shortly. Ceremony, all attendees are requested to turn off their phones or put them in silent mode. Notifications will be activated. Announcing the arrival of Encik Mano bin Ismail, the Director of College Professional Mara Seri Iskandar, Encik Muhammad Ihsan bin Moksin, the Deputy Director of Academic Affairs, Tuan Haji Zamri bin Haji Muhammad Shari, the Deputy Director of Student Affairs, and our invited guest, Dr. William Shannon, the University of Canterbury Business School Internationalization Director, Mr. Philip Chow, the Senior Counselor of Selset Education Center, Sindaran Berhad, Mrs. Nurul Shuhada binti Amir Hashim, the Counselor of College Polytech Mara Ipoh, Mrs. Nurul Hidayah binti Hussein, the Lecturer of College Polytech Mara Ipoh, Mr. Muhammad Faizul bin Mokhtar, the Counselor of MRSM Pasir Salak, Mr. Muhammad Hakimi bin Fauzi, the Counselor of MRSM Parit, Head of Departments, beloved lecturer, staffs, fellow students, and online participants.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Noor Inshirah Natifah binti Hamidi from MC and Educate Club of College Professional Mara Seri Iskandar will be your MCs for today's program. We are more than delighted to welcome you to today's program, Study Abroad University of Canterbury. Before we start, let us begin with the recitation of Dua that will be led by Ainun Nasheed bin Azani.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك الكريم وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجيها بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها من جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك على الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إنك خلق العظيم إنك سميع العليم إنك غفور رحيم إنك رب العرش العظيم إنك البر الجواد الكريم. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan, kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya Karim ya Azim, cucuriah rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis Study Abroad University of Canterbury yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhir. Ya fa'alul lima yurid. Kami juga memohon perlindunganmu daripada segala perkara yang boleh mencacatkan majlis ini dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dan dari berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. Allahumma ja'alna jam'ana hadha jam'an marhumah wa tafarruqna min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'sumah. ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا مترودا ولا محروما. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you to Ainun Nasheed for the dua recitation just now. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to call upon Dr. William Shannon, the Internationalization Director of University of Canterbury Business School, to present his speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very nice to see you all here today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us. My name is Will Shannon, and as was said, I'm the Internationalization Director at the University of Canterbury Business School. And this is my colleague, Siti Karina, also from UC Business School. So today we are going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of studying overseas, and then we're going to introduce you to our country, New Zealand, our city, Christchurch, and our university and business school, the University of Canterbury. So please do feel free to interrupt us if you have any questions or if you can't understand my New Zealand accent. We are very open to stopping and pausing. Can you hear me clearly now? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so just to start with, this is our team. So we work in the University of Canterbury Business School, as I said. There are 4 people in our team, myself and Karina,
as well as Tracy and Mickey. All of us actually studied at the University of Canterbury, so we know it very well. I studied there too long ago to remember, but my colleagues have been there with more recent memory, and all have studied there as international students. So they know what it's like to move from another country to study at our university and can give you some advice around that. What I wanted to start with is the why. So why is studying overseas worth it, I guess, beyond just getting a degree? And I want to talk about this concept of cultural intelligence, which is a person's capability to function effectively in a culturally diverse situation. So when you saw the team that we work in before, we are a very international team. So there's myself from New Zealand, Karina is from Indonesia, and then we have 2 people from China. So we have to work together across diversity. And I think that is a very common thing to do today. So why is it important to study overseas? Firstly, it's a really good way to build up your cultural intelligence, to build up your capacity to work effectively across cultures. And that is important today because you will inevitably work in culturally diverse organizations and teams. That is sort of the way that the world is in the 21st century. People from all around the world are living in cities together and needing to work together. So it's really important to have that capacity to do so. So, for example, in New Zealand, 27% of the population was born overseas. So when you go to work in an organization in our country, the likelihood is that 1 in 4 of the people that you're working with were born somewhere else. So you need to have that capacity to be able to interact with them in an appropriate and effective way. Increasingly, employers all around the world value diversity. They are trying to hire people from different cultures because they know that the benefits this can bring. And especially after COVID, we often have to work together across borders, and that is so easy to do now with virtual technology. So a lot of your work, you need to have meetings, emails, and other forms of communication with clients, partners, and employees that are in different countries to you. So it's really important to have those skills. But it's not just something you have to do, it's something that's really valuable. We often overlook the fact that diversity brings with it so many benefits. It's not just something that we have to tolerate, it's something we should embrace. And the reason for that is that it's really good for creativity. So this is one quote, but it's increasingly proven in research that if you want to be innovative and creative, you need diverse teams. Diversity in terms of personality and various other factors, but culturally as well. Because if you have people that come from different cultures, they think about problems in different ways. So when you have a problem, you can hear those different perspectives and ideas and ultimately develop better solutions if you're able to listen to those diverse perspectives. But it's not automatic. It can be challenging. So just because you have diversity in a team, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the benefits. It can also lead to arguments, fights, disagreements, and it can, if not done well, become quite toxic. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, diversity increases the opportunity for creativity, but on the other hand, it can lead to this situation where the members in your group are dissatisfied and unhappy because of the challenges. So it's really important, going back to what I said at the start, that you develop those capabilities that are necessary to be able to maximize the benefits and minimize the challenges of diversity. And there are many ways that you can do that, but the number one way is to put yourself outside your comfort zone and into a situation where you are surrounded by people from other cultures. And that forces you to need to learn how you can adapt to that, how you can build relationships with people who come from very different worldviews. And that's something that you can do in no better way than by studying in another country, because it really does take you outside of your comfort zone and allow you to immerse yourself in a new culture. And now I think Karina is going to share her journey.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone. Like Will mentioned, my name is Siti Karina, but you can call me Karina. I'm originally from Indonesia, so I can cakap bahasa Melayu sikit-sikit lah. So if you guys have any questions and you want to ask me in Malay, go for it. But today, basically to start with, I'm just gonna share to you a little bit about my journey because I used to be an international student myself at University of Canterbury. So in 2017, I decided to study in New Zealand, specifically in Christchurch. So a lot of people ask me, why did I choose New Zealand? Because a lot of people have this thought like, oh, there's nothing in New Zealand. It's like 60% sheep and then 40% human. What are you going to do there? But to be honest, when I go there, it's very different compared to what I thought because there's still mall, there's still city center, but at the same time you get to enjoy the outdoor activities like skiing, snowboarding, and also like kayaking. So basically, there's a lot of mixture of city life and also the nature life. In my first year in 2017, I decided to stay at a homestay with the host parents. The reason is because I didn't know anyone there. I went there by myself, and then my English was very limited. Just sikit-sikit je bisa bahasa Inggris tu. And then I decided to stay with host parents. There is a Kiwi and also an Indian couple. And then it was a very good opportunity for me to basically improve my communication skills, to get to know the city, the country. And I stayed with them for about 4 months. And until now, I still keep in touch with them. So they're kind of like my New Zealand family. And then because like I said, my English wasn't that good and still learning anyway. I joined few clubs, and one of them is basically, so in UC there are lots of student clubs, and basically every events and activities I try to just join and then just to embrace myself and put myself out there with the local students, with the other international students. So the second picture there, it's the first event at Uni Quiz Night. So I was put in they put me in a group with people from different countries where I have to do this quizzes. It's around like 10 rounds of quizzes. And then I think that was the first interaction of me and also like a local student there at UC. And we ended up won a first prize. So at first I was a bit nervous because like obviously I don't know these people, and then I don't have that much knowledge. But apparently, like Will mentioned, working in a group with diverse team, it actually there's more advantage to it because every perspective has everyone have a different perspectives. Um, the next picture, which is my first road trip to Queenstown. So the good thing about Christchurch is located in South Island. I'm gonna talk a little bit more detail after this about New Zealand as a whole. But basically, most of the beautiful sceneries are usually located in South Island, and Christchurch is in South Island. And Queenstown is only about like 6 hours drive from Christchurch. And when we drove from Christchurch to Queenstown, it's literally like totally, it's like going to a different country. So all the way when we drove and then we stop in different places, it's like you're going to, one stop is like a Switzerland, another stop is like Vienna, because basically all the sceneries in New Zealand is really beautiful. And in 2018, I decided to join 180 Degrees Consulting Club. So it's kind of like it's a student club where you join in a group of random people, and then they will give you a client, which is a real New Zealand company who want to um, they want to organize an event for basically disabilities kids. So throughout the semester, we work together as a team. And then at the end of the program, we have to do a presentation in front of the clients and also the mentors. And usually for this program, the mentors that we get is from Big Four, like PwC and then Deloitte. So it's actually a good opportunity for me to connect with all these professionals around New Zealand. And during summer, we usually have a 3-month summer break, and there's like a music festival called Tea Party where we can wear like basically like costumes and stuff with our friends. So it's a nice way to celebrate after your exam is finished. And another thing that I would like to highlight is a part-time work. So at UC, the study plan is quite flexible, so you can study and also work in the weekend. And like I mentioned, because the summer break is 3 months, usually we're able to work full time, which is like 40 hours per week. So what I did was I took a part-time job at an Indian restaurant as a waitress, and the minimum wage in New Zealand is very high, so it's around 22.75 New Zealand dollars per hour. So it's around 66 ringgit, I think, per hour. And you can work up to 40 hours. Yeah, it's a lot of money, right? Okay. So in 2019, I decided to join Canterbury Malaysian Student Association, and I was the only Indonesian there. Reason is because the CMSA club, we call it CMSA, is one of the biggest international club at UC. So we have quite a large Malaysian community on campus. And on that year, me and my team came up with this idea where we have international cultural festival. So we organized an event where we invited international clubs from South Korea, from Philippines, Indonesia, Middle East to sell their food and then do some performances. And actually, in this event, Will was my sponsor. So I give him a proposal. Okay, I want to do this event. Do you want to sponsor my event or not? And that's how we know each other, basically. Uh, that's how I got the job. Nah, just kidding. So another thing, it's probably not happening anymore now since COVID, but the CMSA club used to have a Malam Malaysia, which is it's like a cultural night just for Malaysians, where like New Zealanders, like Kiwi, we call New Zealanders Kiwi, where Kiwi students, staff, and then other international students can come to watch. So basically, they're like dance performances, and then singing, and then also belakun. Do you guys call it belakun? Yeah, okay, acting basically. So in that year, I joined Malam Malaysia and I sang after years of not singing on the stage. And then it was a very good experience because not only I get to know the Malaysian students at UC, but there are lots of other students from other countries that join Malam Malaysia as well. So even though it's called Malam Malaysia, but it's open to anyone. And then I also work part time. So during summer break in 2018, I was a waitress in Indian restaurant, and then in 2019, I tried to apply to another job. It's called Max Clothing. So I'm just basically like a salesperson there, and I worked there for about 1.5 years. It was actually a very good experience because most of my colleagues are New Zealander. So it's a good connections. Like basically the whole point of me studying overseas is to explore myself and then connect with people from other countries, right? You don't want to go all the way overseas and then just like hanging out with the same people, from your own country. You want to explore outside of your bubble. So the way I did it, check. Oh, okay. Sorry. Basically, yeah, I joined. I work part time and then join different clubs. And is there anything that I missed? Oh, and also when I work. Check. Oh, okay. Okay, let's just move on to 2020. So in 2020, I decided to join UC Global Society Club. So this club is quite different. Where I was in CMSA, I was basically working with all the Malaysian students. And in UC Global Society, I was working with 13 different students from 10 different countries. So I constantly put myself out there to meet people from different backgrounds, different cultures. And like Will mentioned about having an international team and how important it is, I think this particular experience is the most challenging that I've ever had, but at the same time, it's the most valuable experiences because from this experience, I actually learned a lot how to deal with people from different backgrounds. And then, because imagine if you have people from 10 different countries, you basically need to be able to value their ideas, but at the same time, you need to come up with one decision. And because at that time, I was the vice president of this UC Global Society, so I need to make sure that all my executive members feel included. Another activity that I did was a UCE challenge, which I'm gonna talk more about that later. But basically, with my UCGS team, we won this competition and we got the fourth place. This competition is basically a case where we have to come up with an event, how to connect international and domestic students together. And the good thing about this challenge is not only when we won this challenge, not only we get the money to implement the event, but we also get the money for ourselves. So it's a good extra pocket money. And in 2020, because it's my last year of my degree, I got the job offer at UC Business School, basically as an international ambassador. And we basically created this Instagram called UCNZ.live. So if you want to know more about the international student lifestyle at UC, feel free to follow. And the last photo is basically my last day of my degree. That's the last exam that I had at UC. So in 2021, I finally had my graduation ceremony. Unfortunately, it was COVID, so I didn't have my parents with me at that time. And in the middle was me and my New Zealand families, basically. It's a graduation dinner that we celebrated together. And the last picture is me and my team. So after I graduated, I was fortunate enough to get a job opportunity at UC Business School. All right, so that's all about me. Sorry if it's a little bit boring, but I'm gonna talk more about Christchurch itself. So I don't know if you guys know, but New Zealand have two islands. There's North and the South. So we're located in the South Island, and Christchurch is quite in the middle of the island. So to it's quite easy to go for a road trip through the whole island. The campus itself is okay, like 15 minutes bus ride to the city center. and it's only around 1 hour drive to the mountain. So usually, I don't know about in Sri Iskandar, but I know in KL, if we drive for an hour, we probably just go to the mall or something, or just come up from KLCC to another mall. But in Christchurch, if you drive an hour, then you will be in a mountain and you can basically play ski and snowboarding during winter. And it's also only 30 minutes bus ride to the beach. So, because there are about 8 universities in New Zealand, and the big city is Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch. I think what I usually told people is every universities in New Zealand are good. Like basically, it's in the, if I'm not mistaken, all the 8 universities are in the top of 500 in the world. But I think what I would like to highlight about Christchurch, Christchurch is one of basically the most affordable city compared to big cities like Auckland and Wellington. So it's around 13% cheaper than Auckland. Like for example, for the rent, usually in Auckland it's around, for example, 250 New Zealand dollars per week. But you probably need to share your room with someone, and also you need to share the bathroom, share the kitchen and stuff like that. And probably it's smaller, and it's also like older buildings. But in Christchurch, if you spend like 150 New Zealand dollars per week, you can already get a room for yourself. And then for kitchen and bathroom, it's usually sharing. But then you get a newer building. The reason is because Christchurch is basically developing, and there's a lot of new properties that we build at the moment. And Christchurch is also has the lowest unemployment rate in Australasia. So there are lots of job opportunities when even during your studies and also after you finish your studies. It's quite easy to find halal food as well. So even like Korean restaurants, Japanese restaurants, usually the chicken is halal. And it's also voted as top 10 friendliest city in the world. So maybe if you want to check whether the people actually friendly or not, you can try to talk to Will. Okay.
Okay, I think we've been talking a lot. Are you bored already? Okay. Have you got any questions? Is there anyone brave enough to ask a question before we continue? We have some chocolate if anyone wants to ask, yeah? Okay, think about it later. We want a question, okay? Okay, so I know that not all of you are maybe interested in business. Some of you could be interested in other programs. We're from the business school, so we're going to talk about business, but we're happy to answer any questions about other programs as well. But in terms of business schools, if you're currently studying business or you're at high school and you're thinking about studying business, one of the things to consider when you go on, if you're planning to go on to university studies afterwards, is this thing called Triple Crown accreditation. So basically, business schools around the world can go through this process of being accredited. There's 3 that they can do: AACSB, EQUIS, and AMBER. And it's quite hard to get that. And our business school has all 3, which is basically a sign that we are well recognized around the world. We have a good reputation for the quality of our education, and our degree will mean something, whether it's in New Zealand or overseas. We also have really good researchers who will be teaching you, who are world experts in their subject. But I think for you, one of the more important things to think about is the flexibility of our degrees. And that's something Karina will talk about soon, because you don't have to just choose one major, one subject. You can choose different majors so that you get a broad experience. We also have some really world-class facilities, but even more important to that, we have an excellent personalized student support service. So unfortunately, when you come to UC, you will probably get sick of seeing us because we are always there, like too much sometimes. So usually when you apply to enroll, we will give you a call just to make sure everything is okay before you come here. We will do a briefing to help you prepare, tell you what you need to bring, how you can choose your courses. Sometimes we will even come to Malaysia to do that. That's actually what we're doing this weekend. We're meeting some of your seniors who are about to travel to New Zealand to help them to prepare. And then when you arrive, we have a welcome. We have open houses in our office where you can come and have some food and drink with us and just chat about anything that you're having issues with, or maybe some nice stories you want to share with us. We call you again later in the semester. And I'm sorry to say it, but we also keep an eye on your results. And if we can see that you're struggling, you're not in trouble, but we will call you just to make sure everything's okay and offer you some extra sort of tutoring and support to help you succeed. So we really want you to get the most out of your experience possible, not only academically, but to do some of those things that Karina did to make sure that by the time you graduate, you've had the best possible experience. And that's a responsibility we take quite seriously, and we will be, by the end of it, very good friends probably. We'll be celebrating Raya with you at your house. Please invite us.
All right. So, in terms of the major for the Bachelor of Commerce, basically for the business, we have 12 majors in total. Basically, like cover pretty much everything: accounting, economics, finance. Yeah. Like me. Check. Okay. So, I'm gonna talk a bit more later because I know you guys are from different programs, right? So who's doing the DBIT here? Oh, okay. And what about marketing? Okay. And the international business? Oh, wow. If you're doing international business, you should study overseas. So at UC, you can do double major or a major and a minor. So the difference between double major and minor, usually, for example, I did a double major. So it requires you to take at least 7 to 8 courses for that particular major. And for minor, it usually only require you to take 4 to 5 compulsory courses. So macam paper yang wajib and then paper yang elective. And for major, it's usually shows both in on your transcript. So for example, for me in my graduation certificate, it says like Siti Karina, Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing and Operation Supply Chain Management. But if I only did a major and a minor, in my graduation certificate is just going to be Siti Karina, Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing. But in my transcript, it will show that I also did minor in Operation Supply Chain Management. So technically, when you go for apply for a job, you can show it to your future employer. Oh, this is the major that I did, but I also did some of these courses as my minor. So it shows that you're actually have the basic knowledge of that minor. And for major, you can choose just in the Bachelor of Commerce, so from the 12 majors that I showed you before. But for minor, you can take it from other degree as well, like Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. So for example, some people take a major in human resource management and then a minor in psychology. Or if you want to take major in marketing and then minor in communication, that's possible. So the good thing about double major, it check. Okay.
It's because she's talking too much. It's telling her to stop.
Okay, I'll make it quick. So basically, see, I forgot what to say now. Oh, so for double major, it doesn't require you more time or more cost because technically the amount of papers that you take doing double major is the same as single major. So this is an example of one major, which is just finance. And then if you see there are lots of like empty boxes, that one is for elective courses. And this is how it looks like for single major in economics. And there are lots of empty boxes as well. So if you do double major in finance and economics, it will look like that. So technically, the number of the courses that you take is still the same. The number is still the same, but it's just more compulsory courses. Does it make sense? Yeah? Any questions? No? All right. So in terms of the study pathway, I know that some of you guys are still in high school now, yeah? And these are the, you guys are the KPM students? Yeah? Okay. So basically, if you want to study to UC, you can you can study at KPM first and spend 2 years. And I think in KPM Sri Iskandar, there are 3 diploma available, right? 4. Yeah, 4. Okay, sorry. So this is for diploma in international business. As you can see, we already put the courses that you need to take at KPM, which will be credited to UC first year. So when you come to UC, you just need to start your second year. And the eligible majors is stated there. There's economics, finance, HRM, international business in finance, and so on. So if you want to do double major, you can. So for example, if you take this diploma in international business, you can take maybe international business in finance plus tourism, marketing, and management, for example.
Just to say there, with that list of courses, we know that sometimes those course codes change or things change. So if on your transcript you don't exactly have these courses, you can just check with us because sometimes it does move with time, but it's usually still possible to get the same credit.
And this one is for diploma in marketing. So the first table on the top are the majors that you can take if you did diploma in marketing at KPM. And this is for diploma in business information technology. Is there any question so far in terms of the credits?
We do have a question from our YouTube viewer. So the question is, can international students obtain a driver's license there?
Yeah, actually, if you're a Malaysian and you have a Malaysian driver license, it's you can use your Malaysian driver license for a year. And then after 1 year, then you can apply for New Zealand driver license. So it's just a theory test. And then after that, it's quite easy, the theory test. And then you can get a New Zealand driver license on your second year. So actually, Malaysian driver license is recognized in New Zealand, but not Indonesian, unfortunately.
Okay, so some of you also might be doing this diploma in English communication, and this is actually a very new one that we've just looked at. So if you've done the diploma in English communication, you can go into our Bachelor of Arts program, which has a lot of different majors, or you can go into our Bachelor of Communication. They would normally be 3 years, but you can get 1 semester's credit. So it would only take 2.5 years. So for the business ones we just showed, they would only need 2 years studying at the University of Canterbury. For this one, it's only 2.5 years. So you still save some time and money ultimately. So I think if you're going for MARA sponsorship, actually these requirements don't matter so much because you need an IELTS score of 6.5. For our own requirements, it's usually an IELTS score of 6.0. So the most important thing is that you practice hard to be able to meet that requirement for MARA. If you're coming independently, then these are the requirements here. But I'm very confident that all of you will be able to meet this. Okay, and then just one other thing to mention to you that all of our students who are coming into the Bachelor of Commerce through this pathway are eligible to get an award, which is valued at 3,500 New Zealand dollars, which is about 10% of the tuition fee. So even if you're getting a convertible loan from Mara, this is still very valuable because it will reduce the overall amount that Mara needs to pay, and therefore ultimately the overall amount that you might need to pay back. So it's still very valuable, and you will automatically get that if you transfer to us. Me or you? Me? Okay. Another thing that, oh, sorry, there's a question. Yeah. Allowance, like for living costs. Not from the university. So from the university, you don't get a living allowance. But if, for example, you got the Mara convertible loan, that would include an element of living costs, like a stipend, right? Yeah. So there, if you get that award, that loan, then it does include some amount for living. Otherwise, you, as Karina said, there's the opportunity to work. So you can work up to 20 hours a week during the semester and full-time during the holidays. So that's a good opportunity to save some more money for living costs, but also for traveling and other things to make sure you can make the most of the experience.
I think the thing that I forgot to mention, basically in UC, the class is not going to be like for 1 week, you're going to have a class from Monday to Friday. It's usually one course, you probably only have like 3 hours of classes, maybe 2 hours tutorial and 1 hour of, 2 hours lecture and 1 hour tutorial. So for example, during my time, I only have class from Monday to Wednesday or Monday to Thursday. So usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I took a part-time job. Because you can, under student visa, you can work up to 20 hours a week. For the post-study work visa, basically once you finished your study at UC, you can apply for a post-study work visa as long as you have a minimum of 30 weeks studying in the country, in New Zealand. And which I'm sure because you guys doing 2 years degree with us, so you're gonna be eligible for this, and you're gonna get the post-study work visa for 2 years. So in that 2 years, you can either apply for a job, or you can even like just lay in the bed doing nothing. So it's totally
But
up to
don't
you.
do that.
So it's actually a good opportunity for international students to get work experience. And if they want to like eventually come back to Malaysia, then you already have that work experience in New Zealand.
And I think because, especially if you're getting the Mara loan, obviously the intention for that is for you to get your overseas degree and then come back and contribute to Malaysia. But even having some post-study work experience in another country for 1 or 2 years can be very beneficial because you make some good contacts, you learn some skills, and then you can bring that knowledge back with you. So a lot of our Malaysian students do that. They stay for a short time, get that experience, and then they come back to be closer to their families and to do some work here. So that's an option if you're interested in it.
Usually once you got a job there, you don't want to come back. No, I'm just kidding. So for the UC student support, like we mentioned in earlier before, so we have a UC Business School internationalization team, which is us. So if you have any questions, if you need anything, our door is always open. And we also have UC Student Care. Basically, these are the team who take care of students who feeling homesick or feel like struggling with the studies or any personal issue. You can always go to the UC Student Care. We also have UC mentoring program. So basically, when you come to UC, we're gonna put you in a group with other international students from other countries with one senior student, which is kind of like basically your senior who already studied probably a year or two at UC. Basically, this group of people is like a way for you to connect with other international students at UC to make sure that you're not gonna stuck in your bubble all the time. And the senior student can help you if you want to know, for example, oh, where's the supermarket, and then where to get the cheapest chili or something like that. So these seniors are the best people to go to ask about this. And then we also have academic skill center. I think this is very useful, especially if you're doing like international business or marketing, because usually the assignments will be like essays or like report and stuff. Because sometimes the way we write essay probably not it doesn't meet what the lecturer wants. So this academic skill center are the people that can help you to check your essay before you submit your assignment. So what I did was I finished my essay 1 week before the due date, send it to them, and then they will give all the feedback. Okay, these are the things that you need to change, and then they will also tell the grammatical error and stuff like that, and then they will send it back to you before the due date, so you have a chance to change it basically before you submit it. There's also UC Career Hub. This team is also very useful because they help you to build your CV, cover letter, and then a practice for job interview, because the CV that you usually use in Malaysia probably not going to be the same as in New Zealand. So yeah, these people are very helpful. We also have recreation center, which is a gym. So if you're a UC student, you're free to access. It's free for UC students to access the gym. And UC Health Center is basically like a clinic. So if you don't feel well, and if you need like a prescription for your medicine and stuff, the UC clinic is located on campus. So our campus is actually in one area, and the gym, the clinic, all the classes are all in there, and the UC accommodation is also around the campus. We also have prayer facilities. So there's one in the library, and also there's another one which is a bigger surau around the campus as well. So usually for the male students, they go for Salat Jumat in the bigger surau. And the last one is Student Association, or UCSA. So this is something like a student council where they look after the student clubs. All right. So for opportunities we offer outside the classroom, the reason why we give these opportunities to international students in New Zealand, if you apply for a job, they're not going to ask, what's your GPA? Or they're not going to ask, can you give me your transcript? The thing that they ask is actually, what did you do during your study? What did you do outside the class during your study? Did you do any part-time job? Did you join any club? Did you like active enough? Did you do internship? Because the experiences matters more than the grade itself. So I think for you when you apply for a job, no one ever asks for your transcript, right?
I've never had to show my transcript for a job, thankfully.
So basically, during the interview, the questions that they ask is usually something that relate to what you did outside of your class. So for example, if they give this one case, you need to relate it to your own experience. So we have summer micro internship. This is actually quite unique because during summer, we have a 3 months break, like I mentioned. We put international students from the same country in the same group together with one New Zealand student to work for 3 weeks and help New Zealand business who want to expand their market in that particular country. So for example, a group of 5 Malaysian students with one New Zealand students work together, helping this maybe like beauty business in New Zealand who want to expand their market in Malaysia. So you guys do a market research about your own country, and then at the end of the program, you do like a presentation. And actually, it's not just an internship. There's a little bit of competition in there as well, because there are some groups from other countries as well. And if you win, you can get a cash prize for yourself. We also have virtual internships. The difference between summer micro internship and virtual internships. For virtual internship, you work for a company outside of New Zealand. So you might get an employer from US, Singapore, or South Korea, basically pretty much around the world. And it's a remote internship. And the last one is UC Center of Entrepreneurship. This is another opportunities that you can do outside of your classroom. So I think I mentioned a little bit during my journey at UC. So they have something like 2 days or like a week challenge. It's kind of like a competition where you work in a group and then they give you a case and then you work together for about 2 days or a week. And at the end of the competition, you need to do a presentation. And if you win, you can get a money to implement your idea and also a cash prize for yourself. They also have a summer startup where if you have a business ideas, you can give them a proposal, and then if you got accepted, you can go through the summer startup program for 3 months. The good thing about these challenges and the summer startup, throughout this process, they will give you like a mentoring session, and usually the mentors are from a big firm like PwC or like Deloitte or other local businesses in New Zealand as well. In terms of the clubs, student clubs and societies, we have more than 160 clubs, ranging from international clubs, academic clubs, and then sport clubs. So if anyone of you like into rugby or basketball or badminton, there are lots of sport clubs there. And the good thing is you can join more than one club. So even if you come and then you want to join 5 clubs, you can. There's no limitation on it. And this is the Canterbury Malaysian Student Association. So usually throughout the year, I think this is the biggest international club at UC. So in the beginning of the year, they usually have a Chinese New Year celebration. And then during it, they have Raya. And then there's the Bersatu games as well. Have you ever guys heard about Bersatu games? No? Okay. So basically, Bersatu Games is like a sport carnival where all the universities in New Zealand, all the Malaysian students from all the universities in New Zealand gather in one city to basically play sport against the other university. So for example, University of Canterbury versus University of Otago, or like University of Victoria versus University of Auckland. And then the sports is like pretty much everything, like badminton, football, even FIFA, and also debate. And yeah, if you guys want to know more, just follow the Instagram CMSA_NZ.
Okay, so we're nearing the end, don't worry. We won't take too much more of your time. But just briefly to show you our campus and the accommodation. So you can see in the middle, all of those buildings there, that's the University of Canterbury, that's our campus. We then have the playing fields next to it, that big green space. And then all around that, you can see the purple pins. They are our student accommodation. So it's very close to campus. Like the closest one is probably only a 5-minute walk. You just have to cross the road and you're in your classes basically. The furthest away one is about a 15-minute walk. But don't worry, walking in New Zealand is very different to walking in Malaysia. So whenever I come to Malaysia, we have quite a few disagreements on this actually. Because when we are here and we have to go to a meeting and it's like 15 minutes away, I always want to walk and she always wants to get in a car. And I understand because it's so hot, but there's something about me coming from New Zealand, I just have to walk everywhere. But when you're here, it's much cooler. Like, so walking 15 minutes is easy. And by the end of it, you'll be like me, you'll walk everywhere. But you can also buy a bicycle as well. It's a very easy city to cycle around. And then in the area, we have the mall, which is the biggest mall in the South Island, is it? It's not big by Malaysian standards, to be honest, but it's still, it's big enough. It's got everything you need. There's some shops around, like Asian supermarkets, where you can buy all of the ingredients you need to make a yummy meal for me. Thank you. And there's some, regular supermarkets just about 5 minutes walk away as well. So everything is very close by. You don't need a car, but if you want to go on road trips or things like that, it's sometimes good to have a car, and often people will share one so that if they've got a job or are traveling, they can use that. But in most of your days, you can just get by walking, cycling, or busing.
If you guys want to know more about the accommodation that we'll mention, you can check the Instagram ucnz.live under guides. There's like UC accommodation options. And there are also some guides for like a road trip in New Zealand, so you can see a bigger picture how New Zealand looks like. And if you want to ask more questions after this, you can either talk to me straight away, or you can also WhatsApp me into that number. So feel free to bother me.
Okay, so just to end, we're going to show you the stories of some of our students who have come from KPM before, not from this particular college, but from some of the other colleges. So this is Ida. She started with us in 2018, so her final year was 2020. She actually is currently still in New Zealand, working there, but in her time as a student, she was the vice president of CMSA, the Canterbury Malaysian Students Association. And as she says there, the slogan is really bringing home closer, because when you study overseas, the hardest thing is obviously being away from your friends and family and the familiarity of home. So the purpose of CMSA is to bring that home to you. And as Karina said, you kind of make your own family there and make lifelong friends. And CMSA is a really important part of that. We actually went to Ida's wedding last year. She met her husband at UC, so you never know, La, could be. Okay, and then this is Nukman. He did accounting, and then after graduation, he went to Dublin to do his chartered accounting papers, which was also through Mara. And he was really into his sports. He's a really good football player, and he joined the local football team. And the good thing about that is by joining like a sports club, it's a way to meet people from other cultures. So his team, I think he might have been the only Malaysian, or maybe there were two, but it was people from New Zealand, from other countries. So he really got some good friendships through that. And as he said, he really enjoyed the food celebrations and celebrating Eid there as well. And then this is Akila. She is also still in New Zealand, still in Christchurch, and she's working in a marketing role for a motorhome company, right? Like when people travel around New Zealand, they often hire these big vans that they can go in and sleep in. And she's working in a marketing role there, which was sort of her dream role because she's really into tourism, but also her studies were in marketing. But the thing about Akila is, like Karina, she really embraced all of the experiences. So she joined so many Centre for Entrepreneurship activities, challenges, and that was a great way to also meet people. But she built up a lot of experiences and skills that when she graduated were able to help her get a job. Okay, we're now just going to, before we finish, show a video of one of our most recent KPM graduates. She just finished at the end of last year. She's just returned to Malaysia, and I guess this is sort of her story, which showcases some of the things that we've talked about today.
Hi, I'm Safia. I'm from Malaysia. I'm studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in International Business and Operation and Supply Chain Management. The reason why I choose New Zealand is because the people here are open-minded towards religion and diverse cultures. People here are open-minded towards religion. I feel accepted and welcomed by the community, and that makes me love New Zealand even more. I honestly chose UC because of UCNZ.life. I'm studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in International Business and Operation and Supply Chain Management. The reason why I choose New Zealand is
Can you guys
because
see
the
it?
people here are open-minded
No?
towards religion and diverse cultures. As a hijabi, Hi, I'm Safia. I'm from Malaysia. I'm studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in International Business and Operation and Supply Chain Management. The reason why I choose New Zealand is because the people here are open-minded towards religion and diverse cultures. As a hijabi, I feel accepted and welcomed by the community, and that makes me love New Zealand even more. I honestly chose UC because of UCNZ.life Instagram. I found UC to be one of the most attractive places to study because the Instagram post shows the message of practicing diversity, which led me to further my studies here. What I like about this BCom program at UC is that I can take a double major without requiring extra cost and time. So I get to learn more aspects of business, which also widens my options for my career path. The most thing I like about UC is that all lectures are recorded. I can re-watch the lectures if I miss out anything from the physical lectures. And I love how the UC buildings are all close together. It saves a lot of time between classes. I choose to cycle to uni because it keeps me fit and it's easy to commute to UC. There's great bike access around uni and the city. The academic staff at UC are friendly and super approachable. At UC, I feel welcome and comfortable. Every Wednesday, I play badminton with my friends. It's a great way to stay fit and meet new people. During the semester breaks, I go traveling with my friends to go sightseeing and explore new areas. The sceneries here in New Zealand are incredibly beautiful and mesmerizing. What I like most about New Zealand is that the people here are genuinely kind. The Malaysian community within UC is very close. It feels like home away from home.
Okay, I think we're done. So now it's time for all those questions. Ah,
Hi. Question for Miss Karina. Can you explain more a bit about the foster parents?
Sorry?
foster
Like about the
parents.
foster parents thing, is it like provided?
Oh,
or is it
homestay.
like
Like what's the process or how they?
Yeah.
So I actually went through an agent. So yeah, basically I went through an agent. I just tell them that okay, in the first 3 months I want to stay with the in the homestay, and then basically they were the one who go through all the process, and then they tell after we applied, they will tell us like okay, this is basically what their jobs are, where they're from, and stuff like that. And if we're okay with that, then we can just accept it. But if we don't, then I think they just find another host parents for us.
I think the benefit of doing that is everything's included. So you pay a fee each week, and it's not too expensive. It's reasonable. But then your host parents will cook meals for you every day. So it's like living at home, but just with another set of parents. So it's quite a good way to start if you just want something that's a bit smoother to transition. Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
I would just like to ask about the Maori language and the culture because I see a lot of the language integrated in the website. And uh, is there any opportunity provided for us international students to learn about it?
Yeah, very good question. Definitely, there is opportunities to learn, and I'm pleased that you saw that it is integrated because New Zealand is a bicultural country, so Maori and non-Maori basically. Our origins go back some years to a treaty that was signed between Maori and non-Maori, but for a long time that was kind of neglected. but in more recent times, there's a much more effort to try and incorporate Māori knowledge, language, wisdom in everything that we do, and especially at the university. So you can do courses in Māori language, Te Reo Māori it's called, or like cultural courses. And what you can do is you can actually get credit for that. So in your degree, you will have some electives, and for those electives, you could choose to do a course in Te Reo Māori or culture to learn more about it. But there's also lots of opportunities outside of the classroom to learn more about that. And we really encourage you to, because it's such a rich culture, and actually there are a lot of similarities between the Māori culture and Malaysian culture. So you'll be able to learn about that. We also run a program in the first semester for all of our new students. It's called the Tūhono program. Tūhono means to connect, and we use Māori values to sort of teach about intercultural understanding and communication. So that's another way you can learn a little bit more about it. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Kim. I'm from animation program. I just have another question. Do they have an animation course in University of Canterbury? Also, if there is a program of animation in University of Canterbury, do they have utilities prepared for the students? And also, do they also make an event for animation students to participate in? As an animation student, I am pretty interested in the school and I need some convincing.
Yeah, good question. We have all types of digital screen activities, I guess, including animation. So there is some opportunity. I'm not actually sure if there's a club, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a club for animation.
Yeah.
So I think the community is quite huge, and then it's quite diverse as well, because there's a lot of Kiwi students who are into animation.
So it's a good way to meet people, to join a club like that, and to learn about it. So I know you had a follow-up question, right? We can, before we move on, happy to take that.
We have a question from our YouTube viewer, three of them. Does the university provide student accommodation for free or at this discounted rate? And another one is, how much is the living cost there?
Yeah, so the student accommodation is additional to the tuition fees, so it's not free, but basically we have a range of accommodation that you can choose from, which from relatively cheap to more expensive, depending on your preference and lifestyle. So if you go to the ucnz.life Instagram account and then go to guides, you can see accommodation, and that has quite a good range of accommodation. So for example, one of them, it shows Ara, who's another one of our graduates from KPM, when she was a student, her accommodation. She rented a private rental with friends, and she shared a room with one of her friends, and I think that cost about $80 per week, if I'm not wrong. 80, basically, to work out what it is in ringgit, multiply it by 3. So 80 New Zealand dollars is
240 ringgit.
We're not very good at math. We didn't do our education in Malaysia, so we're a bit slower. But yeah, so about 240. Yeah,
I think so.
Ringgit
8 times 3
per week for rent. But then if you want, say, like a private room with your own bathroom in a more modern apartment, it might be more. Again, with living costs, it really depends. If you eat out all the time, it's going to be more expensive. But if you cook with your housemates, you can live for quite cheaply.
I think what I really like about my Malaysian friends, so they basically live together in one house and then they share one room together, so it makes the rent cheaper. And then also they take turns who gonna cook on that day. So in a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a different people who cook for the whole house. So it actually save a lot of money.
And usually your seniors can help you to find an apartment because there's people leaving all the time, coming and going. So you can connect with them and they will help you to find a house and for quite affordable. But it is an additional cost. Sorry, yeah. Hi.
Hello again. Okay, so I'm actually interested in furthering my bachelor in anything regarding English or education, but I seem to have trouble finding the appropriate bachelor or maybe subjects as the term that is used in the website. So, is it possible for you to guide us later on how to find the appropriate bachelor?
Can. I think for you, probably what you would look for, it's called the Bachelor of Arts, majoring in English. So that's probably the most relevant program. But yeah, I understand it is a little bit challenging. So happy to come and talk to us afterwards and we can show you on the website where to find that.
There's another one question from MRSM Batung. For students, is there any discount for buses and trains? And another one is, are visas need to be registered, the new visa for student?
We don't have trains in New Zealand, but we have buses. That's usually the common public transport there. So actually, if you're a university student, there's a student rate, which is quite cheap. I think per ride, it's around... check. Okay. I think per ride is around $1.20, which is my math. 360. Yeah, 360 ringgit. Good math. So 360 ringgit for 2 rides. And to be honest, if you like, usually we use a bus if we just want to go like further than 15 minutes or like 20 minutes walk. Even sometimes 30 minutes walk is still bearable in New Zealand. But yeah, if you want to go to the beach, so they basically charge you not based on the bus stop, but just per ride. So per ride is $1.20. And doesn't matter if you want to go to the beach or go to the hills or you want to go to the mall, it's still $1.20 for 2 rides.
And if you...
And what was the second question? Sorry.
The second question was for the visa. Do they need to register a new one because they already have the Malaysian visa? Do they have to register the New Zealand visa?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would still need to apply for a New Zealand student visa. So everyone that comes to study in New Zealand needs to get a New Zealand student visa before they travel. Actually, our friend Philip is at the front. Put your hand up, Philip. If you do decide to apply to come to Canterbury, you can talk to him and they will help you with the application for the university, but also your visa application, because it can be a little bit of a complicated process. It's not too bad, but if you have someone who already knows what they're doing, it can be easier. So usually it's best to allow like probably 2 months before you need to travel, minimum, to apply for the visa, just to make sure you have it in time before you come here. And in order to do that, you need a full offer from the university. And if you're sponsored, you'll need your financial statement, or if you're private, you need to have paid your first year's fees already, and then you can apply for that.
The next question is there a professional course?
Professional course? Do you know?
I don't exactly know what, but it just says, is there a professional course?
Okay. Let me try and have a go. I'm not sure if I'll get it right, but by professional, I would think of that normally as something that qualifies you to go into a profession like accounting, for example. So our Bachelor of Commerce degree is quite general in a way, like it gives you the broad and transferable skills to be able to go into any discipline really. But say if you do marketing, you can go into marketing, but also you'll get the transferable skills to go into any area. But if you were very set on saying going into accounting, our degree, our major is very closely linked to the industry standards. So you can do a particular pathway and then get the chartered accounting recognition. Equally, for example, if you want to do supply chain management, the people that teach that are very connected to the industry, that it's well recognized there. So I would say within the business school, all of our qualifications are very connected to the profession. So they essentially are professional qualifications in that sense.
The next one is for a high schooler, how to apply for scholarship.
I think for scholarship from the university itself, we have a. Do we still have the international student scholarship?
Yeah.
We basically have an international student scholarship, but that one is very competitive, and I think like in terms of like for Malaysian students, they can apply through Mara or usually JPA, right? Yeah, so that's the scholarship that we know from here, but from the university itself, we do have, but it's just very competitive.
And for the university scholarships or awards, you don't need to do a separate application. You normally just apply for admission to the university, and then you will automatically be considered for any awards. But to be honest with you, it's best not to rely on getting a university scholarship award because the higher value ones are competitive and they still won't pay for your whole fees. But everyone will get that award that we mentioned, which is worth 3,000. Which is worth 3,500.
Hello. My question is, the stay back work visa, is it automatically granted for graduates, or graduates need to find a job first?
Okay. You don't need to find a job first, so that's one benefit. It's an open work visa, so once you get the visa, you can work in any industry you want. But it's not automatic in the sense that as soon as you graduate, you don't just get given it. You need to do an application, but as long as you meet the criteria, then and you're eligible, then that will be granted. So usually you need to wait till your final results are out. And then once you've got that, you can get a letter from the university and then you can apply. And usually within 2 to 3 months after your last course, you will get the visa. In the meantime, because when you get a student visa, it normally goes through sometime after you finish your studies. Like if you finish your studies in November, your visa will probably go until March. So you can work up until that time. And then in the meantime, you can apply for the post-study work visa. And then that will give you the extra 2 years. But yeah, there's no pressure to find a job straight away.
Attention, I also would like to remind you that we have a microphone set up in the middle front of the hall, so please feel free to use if you have any question or comments.
I think there was someone want to ask question over there just now. Do you still have a question? Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, first of all, Hi, Mr. Will Shannon and Miss Siti Karina. So I would like to ask you. My question is there any possibilities for us as MRSM students who are currently studying science stream program in school to pursue or to get engaged in a business course that is promoted by University of Canterbury, which is one of the prestigious business school? Is there any possibility? I mean, is we qualify the qualification?
Thank you very much for your question. Yeah, so for business qualifications, you don't actually need any prior business studies at high school. So even if you're studying science now, it's still possible to come into a business qualification. It just depends on the pathway. So, for example, you could come through KPM if you can get into this and do the first 2 years here and then transfer into the University of Canterbury for the final 2 years. Or if you were looking to come straight from high school, you might need to do a foundation studies program here or in New Zealand. And again, you can probably talk to Philip about this to find out about the different pathways, because it depends on what you're doing at high school, what your pathway will be. But definitely, even if you're studying science now, you can still come and do a business qualification. Hope to see you soon, huh?
Hello to Mr. William and Miss Karina. I have a question for Miss Karina specifically, if you don't mind. I would like to ask, were there any struggles that you found that you had to face when studying abroad, especially living in a completely new environment? And what did you have to do to adapt to your new surroundings? Adding to the fact that your support system is very far away and in another country. And last question, how did you bond with your foster parents easily? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very good question. Struggle, of course, there was a struggle, especially in the first 3 months, I think. Probably the first 1 month was the most challenging one because I arrived. It doesn't like me. I arrived in July, which is during winter time. So not only the environment, but the weather was very cold. And then the academic also very different compared to my time in Indonesia. So what I did was because in crashes there's not many distractions, so I actually more rajin in New Zealand rather than in Indonesia. So I try to find friends because there's quite a lot of international students in the class. So I just try to approach them and then ask them, oh, do you want to study together and stuff. So it really depends on how you usually study. I'm a type of person that need a friend to study with, to have a discussion and stuff. So that's how I did it in terms of academics. But in terms of my social life, like I mentioned before in my journey, like I just joined all the clubs and then join all the activities and the events, just basically to make friends, because having that support system when you come by yourself, like it's quite hard to get in the very first beginning, right? Because your family is far away. So I think the good part that staying at a homestay is also I have a host parents, and like the second question that you asked, the way I bonded with them. So when I arrived, I introduced myself, and then I just talked to them like, oh, I really want to improve my English. So can we have dinner every night together and then and just share about our shake. And then we just share about our day. So that's what I did. So every night I had dinner with them together, and then they told me about their day. I told them about my day. And I mean, if you spend time every day with those people, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a bond, right? And another thing that I always tell students, like we have to be like if we stay in a homestay, obviously it's other people's house. We have to know how to macam bawa diri ke rumah orang. So janganlah semua apa mereka yang buat, mereka yang apa fahamkan. Oh, oke. Okay. Janganlah mereka yang semua cuci pinggan, cuci baju. So sometimes I also like cook for them, but technically kita kan bayar untuk dia orang masakkan buat kita kan. Tapi I sometimes also masakkan buat mereka. So that's how we bond. And then they also we basically learn how to cook like rendang together and stuff like that. So luckily I got a very nice host parents lah. And for outside of homestay, basically during my in my uni life, because I always try to find those friends outside of the classroom and in the classroom. So yeah, we just hang out, and it's quite easy to make friends actually. Surprisingly, because before I went to New Zealand, I thought it's gonna be hard, but the campus itself is very diverse, and UC always have these events and activities that connect us with other students. So students who just came to New Zealand, which have the same experience as us, it's easier for us to bond. And surprisingly, it's easier to make friends with people that are from different country rather than my own country. Because basically your tolerance is higher, I guess, with people that is coming from different background as yours.
There's another question here. Can you share how to deal with disadvantages working in a diverse group?
Disadvantages
Working in a diverse group.
in diverse group. Ah.
I think you can. Karina can share a lot of stories about this because working with me is a disadvantage, I think.
I think the disadvantage, it's like talking bad thing about your own manager now. Nah, I think it's a disadvantage, but also an advantage at the same time, because sometimes we all have a very different views. Like for example, if we'll have this opinion and I have B, and Mickey have C, Tracy have D, that's when we have a very long discussion. Oh, maybe that's the disadvantage. When we have a meeting, like we thought that it's gonna be an hour meeting, and it ended up 3 hours because we just have so many different opinions. But at the end of the day, like it's we're still okay, right? Are we good, boss? Yeah.
And I think sometimes you come to realize that the biggest differences aren't always cultural. So within our team, we have very different personalities, and sometimes we're not typical of other people from our country. So, for example, Karina and I are similar in quite a lot of ways. So often when we make a decision, we can make a decision very quickly. And then we go and talk to our colleague Mickey, and she's not happy with that decision. So we have to talk about it a lot to try and get to an equal place. But I think with everything in life, there are always pros and cons. So every disadvantage also creates an advantage, and every advantage has a disadvantage. So if you're working in a diverse team, that has a lot of advantages, but there will, of course, be some disadvantages. You need to put a lot more thinking and time into it, but then you can get very good rewards, just like anything in life. Like if you want to get very strong, you need to go to the gym a lot, and that's a disadvantage because it takes time and energy, but you get the reward from it.
There is a question for me. I am Dini Fahan from MIC Pasala. Can you explain more about how major and minor course in university work? So because I want to take
So, okay, faham je.
Because I want to take the computer science major, which is very paling susah lah because dia dalam banyak-banyak universiti. Second question is, adakah minor punya major tu affected my major punya course?
Bisa ulang nggak? Maaf ya.
Tak apa, cakap bahasa Melayu. Ni saya nak ambil computer science punya major. Lepas tu adakah saya punya minor major effect saya punya major course saya?
So, you nak ambil major computer science,
Hmm.
but minor in something else.
Ha.
Ada effect ke tak ke major you? Is that the question?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, tak. Tak. Why am I answering like that? Basically, so major works like, dia ada 8, do you guys call it mata kuliah? No ya? So, okay, sorry. Apa ya bahasanya? So, dia ada 8 courses yang wajib buat major. Tapi untuk minor tuh ada 4 atau 6 courses yang wajib. So, the total courses yang you harus buat untuk bachelor degree kat New Zealand itu ada 8 kali 3. Berapa guys? 24. So, dari 24 itu 8 courses tuh harus computer science, and then 4 atau sampai 6-nya itu harus minor yang lain. So technically dia tak ada effect pun. Maksudnya dia tak akan mengganggu your computer science major tuh. Is that the question or am I answering the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eh, your English is very good. And and thank you for being brave and standing up.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Asia. You can call me Hey. I'm from College Polytech Mara Ipoh. So I'm currently studying digital marketing. So I have a question for Ms. Karina. So I would like to know, is there any cultural difference when it comes to college life? I mean, obviously there's going to be a huge cultural difference between maybe Malaysia, Indonesia. How do you approach your lectures when it comes to examination or your assignments? Like, how do you approach them? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. So in terms of assignments, like you wanted to do digital marketing, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's actually my favorite course. So in terms of assignment, like I mentioned, we have that academic skill center because obviously the first essay that I did, I got a very bad grade. Actually, I only get C. And I don't see it as a failure because from that first course, I try to find a way, okay, how to improve this. So I think a lot of our Malaysian students give a lot of pressure to themselves when they just come to the first semester, oh, I need to be a straight A student. But basically, it's quite normal if you, in the first semester, you kind of, grade you rendah sikit lah. But the good thing about assignments in basically New Zealand academics, in one course, you usually have 3 to 4 different assessments. So for example, if your first assignment, you dapat C, for example, and then you learn from that mistake, right? And then the second assignment, you maybe dapat improve to B+. So like in that one course, you over time you can improve. So nanti at the end of the course tu you tak akan dapat grade yang rendah sangat pun. Nah, the way I improve that essay writing skills is by reading a lot of articles, but written by New Zealand lecturers, and also going to that academic skill center. So I just do my assignment first and then send it to them, and then they check it, and then I change the stuff that I did, the mistake that I did, and then I submit it to my lecturer. In terms of exams, they actually told you in the class how the exam gonna be. Like, okay, you're gonna get we're gonna have 2 hours exam, and then it's including like 10 MCQ, and then 5 short answer question, and then 1 essay, for example. And then in the UC website, there's actually a past papers where you can access, so you can macam exercise dari si past papers tuh. So what I did, I just print out semua exam papers in the last 5 years, and then before exam tuh I buat satu-satu, and then I just time it for like 2 hours, so I know how fast I can finish that exam. Yeah, macam tuh. Is that answering your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Okay.
No worries.
And for digital marketing, she got an A.
Congrats.
My
Sumaya
last
ya.
year.
Yeah. Just to add one thing to that thing, I think one of the big differences is, like Karina said, a lot of you don't have so many classes. So you might only have 10 to 15 hours a week of classes. So you have to do a lot more independent study, and that requires a lot of discipline. So that's, I think, one of the tips we would give.
Hello, I have another question. It's me again. I want to ask about someone who's like, for people outside of this country, how is the application process for them?
For people who outside from what?
Out of this country, like someone from another country want to apply to the University of Canterbury.
So someone who's not in Malaysia?
Yes.
Are they Malaysians?
No.
The process itself is similar wherever you are. Like you still apply to the university. We look at your transcript. You provide your English language results, and then if you're accepted, you receive an offer. The entrance requirements are different for each country, and obviously these pathways we've talked about today are particular to Malaysia. But if there is someone outside the country who's non-Malaysian that was interested, I would advise them to contact the university directly and make an inquiry, and then we can give some more specific advice to their situation. Or there might be like an agency in their country, city, that can help them as well with that option. So, but we have students from all around the world. We recognize degrees from all around the world, or high school qualifications. So yeah, I think they can contact us, or they can go onto our website, and there's a place where you can find the admission requirements for everyone.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
3 more questions from YouTube. This is question from Ms. Mars Empasisala. Can you give us some advice on how we should encourage ourselves to step out of our comfort zone?
What are the tips? I think just have the mindset of, okay, I'm studying. If you're gonna study overseas, just think it like this. Okay, I'm flying all the way from my country to other people's countries, spending this much money, this much time and effort. Then obviously you want to grow, not just you want to grow as a person as well. Because I feel like, based on my experience, getting a degree overseas is actually not about the degree. It's actually about more about like self-development. Like I learn more about myself. So I think just how to put it in a word, like just think that, okay, I want to be like, basically just think like I want to be a better person, and then set a goal, I think. Because for me, as soon as I arrive in New Zealand, I have these goals, like my 3 years plan. Or by the end of my last year of study, I want to have this. So in that way, it kind of motivate me to do the stuff that I don't like. For example, like public speaking. I actually really hate public speaking before, and then I just joined this one club where I have to do public speaking, and then yeah, suddenly I got a job where I have to do public speaking all the time. So yeah, I think set a goal, and then when you have that goal, you will have a motivation to pursue that as well. And yeah, there's always a process to go for it.
Yeah, I agree that having that goal in mind is really important, because that's what will drive you to go outside of your comfort zone. but you have to constantly remind yourself of why you're doing this, and then take it in small steps. Like Karina, I'm naturally quite an introverted person. I don't naturally sort of look forward to events where I might have to talk to a lot of people. I have to build myself up to be ready for this. But I try to tell myself, how will I feel after this event? If I know that if I do this event afterwards, I will feel very happy because I've done it. And if I don't do it, I know that I'll feel kind of disappointed in myself. So if I can think about these short-term goals, that this will only take 2 hours of my life, within a few hours, I'll be back at home, sitting there on my own, but I will have done this and I'll feel good about it. And that will be a step towards my end goal. Hey.
Yes. Hello, Mr. William and Miss Karina. I'm Azin Shahir from MRSM Pasisala. I'm sorry, but I have specific question for Miss Karina. In New Zealand, it's like sometimes we need to make a cost living ourselves, just like you mentioned. And I just want to know how you manage your time while studying and being active in your club while also working at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's a very good question. So what I did was I specifically choose the courses that only require me to go to the classes like 3 or 4 days a week, so I can have a balanced life of studying and also like doing activities outside the class and also part-time job. The way I did it, I can't remember how, but basically, I think I try to remember. I think when I was a student, I have this one notebook where I put my like task every day. So basically, okay, if I have a class at this time, then I need to do my assignment at this time and this time. And then during the day that I don't have a class, that's when I really don't touch my studies at all. So I just do like do the like student clubs and also like organizing events. And then during the weekend, I put myself fully on my part-time work from morning to evening. So, and the good thing is about studying at UC, because the class is only like an hour or 2 hours per day. So I actually have a lot of time to study by myself. And that's why during the weekend, I don't even need to study unless I have an exam the next day. And also doing part-time work at UC, because it's quite normal for students. So I usually just told my manager like, oh, I have an exam the next day, so I probably can't work today, and it's okay. So yeah, I just ask for a day off, and then I just focus on my exam the next day. And yeah, it's actually quite manageable. I think the lifestyle in New Zealand is quite laid back, it's very chill. So even if you have 3 things going on at the same time, it doesn't feel like having 3 things going on in, at least in Jakarta, because even study itself in Jakarta for me is very hectic. But in New Zealand, if I only do studying, I think I will be bored because it's very chill.
I've worked with her for too long that I sort of know her own ways of working now. And I think one thing that I really admired when Karina was still a student is she would have, as she said, these very clear plans. So like today is my work day. So I'm going to focus on work and I'm not going to worry about study today. And then the next day, so let's say Saturday's a work day. Sunday is my day. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to study. I'm just going to have some time to do what I want to do, see my friends. And then Monday to Friday, that's my study time. Something like that, so that if you can divide it up and have a clear schedule, you're not getting overwhelmed. Whereas if every day you're feeling the pressure of study, and then when you're supposed to be working, you're still thinking about study, when you're supposed to be with your friends, you just get overwhelmed. So it's good to divide it up like that.
This is the last 2 questions from YouTube. Question from Emerson Sultan Azancha. Is there an age limit for the scholarship? And what is the approximate cost for a semester there?
I can take it. is there an age limit for scholarship, right? I mean, I can't talk about Mara scholarships or anything like that. We'll have to leave that to, our friends here at KPM. But in terms of the university's awards that we offer, no, there's no age limit. It's depending on whether you gain entry into the qualification. Approximate tuition fees, when you take away the award that we give, it's probably about 30,000 New Zealand dollars for 1 year, right? So for 2 years, it would be about 60,000 New Zealand dollars for the tuition fees for studying.
If there is no further questions, allow us to move to our next segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, as this program Press 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, as this program draws to a close, it is with a heavy heart that we bid farewell to all of you. As the saying goes, all good things must come to an end, and so too must our time together. However, we live with a sense of satisfaction, knowing that we all learned something new and might help us in the future. Before we end our event for today, I would like to invite our Director of College Professional Mara Sri Iskandar and Sheikh Ismanufami bin Ismail to present a token of appreciation to Dr. William Shannon, the Internationalization Director of University of Canterbury Business School. Also, quick reminder, for fellow students and online participants, please remember to fill out the attendance link for feedback and evaluation.
Before we end this program, we invite all attendees and guests for a quick photography session. For all students, please stand behind all of the guests so we can capture you for a photography session. Stand up if possible.
I'm going to give it to you because you got 2, but it's actually 3. Anyone know what the third would be? Bahasa Malay? No? Almost. There's so many Malaysians, it feels like it sometimes. Yeah. Exactly. So sign language? I don't know. What do you call that here? Huh? Bahasa Ishara? Ishara. Okay. Okay. Final question. How many sheep are there in New Zealand? Yeah. 60%. That's what she said. How many sheep? It's true? Okay. I know it's about 20 million. 4 million. So I don't know if that works, 60%, but her math is not very good. Yeah, there's 20 million sheep-ish and about 5 million humans. So actually, for every one person, there's 4 sheep. But don't worry, there's enough people. There's some humans for you to talk to. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Makasih.
Welcome to my campus.
Welcome to my campus. Welcome to my campus. Welcome to my campus.
Welcome to my campus.
With Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As.